It's not about money. It's just, I would just like the respect and recognition, and for other people to hear my story. And they can choose to do with it or make any decisions, whether they choose to go to IHOP or not, or write a Yelp review, or even choose to put me down. You know, I mean, I wouldn't be happy about it, but everybody has a right to their own opinions, their own beliefs. But I have my own morals, and I'm not going to change who I am. Well, I'm very grateful for any opportunity, whether it's training or employment, that I have received. So yes, I am grateful for the opportunity to have worked at IHOP, and I will consider it a learning experience as any other experience. From around September of 2021, I was employed at a local IHOP, where for an incident that happened on Veterans Day, where I got overwhelmed, and I won't go into it. They know I have some disorders and anxiety. I got overwhelmed on Veterans Day with COVID, and there weren't many workers, and there was a lot of people, especially for Veterans Day, and them offering specials on their menu. I got overwhelmed with the anxiety, and in order to still be able to work for the company, I was told that I had to be transferred to another IHOP location, in which I was. So between the two different IHOPs, I worked there for about 8 months, on and off. Right around Memorial Day weekend is when they fired me for being, quote unquote, unprofessional. I will be honest, I was given written and verbal warnings in the past, but there was a lack of communication on 3 parts. My part, management, and human resources, which was on site at that location. And I'm sorry to say, but they're very hypocritical at times. They say one thing to me, to other employees, and they expect something from me and say something, and then they go about and do something else. So me having disabilities and disorders, I was often confused by it. I was gone for about 6 weeks due to mental and emotional issues, in which case human resources and management, please edit this, was given letters from the emergency room department, as well as the director of the outpatient mental health program that I go to, and my psychiatrist. And they knew that I was on medication for my anxiety. And yes, they tried to do their best to make things more manageable for me. But in the same sense, I feel that there was a sense of harassment going on in the form of bullying by them, basically, in a sense, I'm sorry, I'm a little ridiculing me and mocking me, making it a hostile work environment, and making it difficult for me to succeed. In one sense, they said I was being unprofessional. Sorry, I'm tongue-tied. Let me just shoot down the line real quick of incidents that happen and go up to that. A lot of these incidences, these situations were corrected during my 6 weeks gone, when I came back with the letter from my outpatient mental health place. And I got fired within, I think, less than 5 days from being back. Here's just a few incidences, and I'm going to lead up to the big one. I was working as a hostess, and the last few times, we also assisted with busing of tables. And just keep in mind, the last few days I was working, there were other hostesses on duty, and my main function, other than hostessing for like 20 minutes on the weekend, was busing tables around the restaurant. Keep in mind, you're as old as you feel. I'm 44 years old. The other employees I was working with were in their late teens, early 20s. And I'm running around half of the whole restaurant, 80% of it, on a busy Saturday morning, bussing tables like a wet sewer rat. So my focus was not hosting and seating guests and, so on and so forth, handing them menus. My focus was cleaning the restaurant, sweeping and bussing the tables, and sanitizing. My focus was not to seat people when they came in and so on and hand them menus. That was not on me. Okay, for instance, a guest, aka customer, asked me for an A1 steak sauce bottle a few months before I got fired. And I reached for the steak sauce bottle, pretend this is it. And when I placed it on the table, the sticker on the A1 steak sauce was something was cracked, the glass, and I sliced my hand open. I didn't drop the bottle. I simply picked it up from the stand and placed it nicely on the table. I didn't slam it. And I went, oh my goodness. And the customer saw, and they're like, oh, do you need the number of a lawyer? And I said, no, thank you. I went into the kitchen where the manager on duty, he is now a cook at another IHOP. He asked me if I needed to call an ambulance or if I needed to go to the hospital. I said no, but I was panicking. I could watch horror movies, see blood, Walking Dead, whatever. But my hand was bleeding, and the glass on the A1 steak sauce bottle had been broken. And the manager was very nice. He proceeded to clean my wound. I was like bleeding all over the kitchen, and other people saw this, and tape it up. And when I went home, I did not go in an ambulance, or I did not report it. It was a written accident report was filled out. The manager had me do it. I went to my local pharmacy and I got like liquid bandage and stuff, and I just dealt with it. But it was painful, so I didn't move on. On another note, moving down the line, I was served a bloody rare cheeseburger. I mean, the thing was still mooing, okay? But I was so hungry, I was silly enough, and I ate a few bites. I did show it to another waitress. I did not show it to the cook because I was afraid he would just retaliate and like hold it again. Like I was being annoying, asking for too much. Many times, and I threw the burger out. I did not tell a manager. I had a few bites, but it was literally red like my shirt, the inside. Not even medium rare. It was red raw. Many times their eggs are not real eggs unless you ask for scrambled shell eggs. They are powdered eggs. And the bacon is hard as a rock. The food is just uncooked. It's inedible. Okay, it's completely inedible. Okay, these little earrings that I'm wearing, the employee uniform was all black. Black pants, black sneakers, and a black button-down shirt. I had worn these little earrings, as you can see. Yes, it said in the employee manual they had to be like a certain size. In the 55-page employee manual, I'm getting to my point, that I read verbatim, it said you are not allowed to have facial piercings or nose rings, okay? This shows the favoritism, and you can only wear clear or neutral nail polish, no loud colors. These I wore, and I got reprimanded and told I couldn't wear them again. Okay, so I didn't. No nose rings, right? In the 55-page, the girl who I worked with, for 6 months that I was there, I had a bull ring going through her nose for the whole 6 months that I was there. So that shows favoritism. A girl that helped to, I believe, got me fired was wearing bright blue nail polish for weeks on end. Okay. And it said in the 55-page employee manual that you could contact the district manager or the franchise owner. When I called Memorial Day weekend, a day or two after I got fired, I wished the manager on duty a happy Memorial Day. Very nicely. I nicely said, may I please speak to the franchise owner? In which case, she was very rude to me and said something about going through human resources. And I said, I'd rather not. And she said, I am not giving you the franchise owner's personal number. And it clearly said in the 55-page employee. I said, I'm sorry. I said, I'm not asking for his personal number, just a number I can reach him at. And she hung up on me. And that was that. Moving along. That was the favoritism. Now, this is where it gets even better. I have two more things to state, please. In the bathroom, a few months before I got fired, was a drop ceiling. This is extremely important. Okay, a few months before I got fired, the bathroom ceiling, it was another restaurant about 10 years before IHOP. The franchise owner owned an Italian restaurant. It was a drop ceiling. The metal pipes were exposed for 1 week, and the first bathroom in the women's bathroom was out of order for a week. Rainwater from the rooftop was falling down in the first bathroom. It was out of order for me on top of the paper towel dispenser. It was covered. IHOP's solution was to cover it with black garbage bags. The ceiling was, the smell coming from there was horrendous. It could have been asbestos for all I know. It was moldy mildew. I was in the second bathroom when the first bathroom was out, using the bathroom, and the rainwater came pouring down the side of the stall. I told other employees, I told my former therapist, family members, friends. And the smell was so bad, I can't even describe it. I was literally using the bathroom when it came down. So, the day I got let go, I told the woman in HR that, and she basically called me a liar, flat out to my face. I said, oh, what about the hazardous rainwater that came pouring down when the first bathroom? Oh, I've worked at IHOP since I was 19 years old, basically calling me a liar. Meanwhile, she was in her 30s and it was another restaurant before IHOP. Moving along, I'm almost done. I was told you can't keep the tips. I never stole tips off of a table. Many of the times, I just, it's the way I was raised. I hold the door open for people. I wish them a happy Mother's Day, Thanksgiving, happy holidays. I help people with wheelchairs, walkers, strollers. I get them to-go boxes for their food. I bring them water. And I say, thank you for coming to IHOP. Please come again. And it's just, I'm polite. That's just the way I was raised. So many times, 99% of the time, the customer guest would tip the waiter or waitress and give me my own tip on the side. Many times, different people in human resources and management said I was allowed to keep the tip. I never took it off the table that was left for the waiter. They tipped the waiter in their hand, and then they came to me, and on their way out, when I'm holding the door open for them, oh, this is for you. I was like, oh, are you sure? Oh, yes, we tipped the waiter too. This is specifically for you. Thank you so much, I said. Leading up to the day I got fired. A few days before I got fired, it was solely my job just to clean the restaurant as a busser. There were 2 other hostesses on stand, and there's 2 entrances to IHOP. The restaurant was practically empty that day. And for 20 minutes, a lady and her young child were sitting there. It was like graduation time, very hot, sitting there ignored for 20 minutes. I don't know how they had them. They must have sat themselves. I don't see any hostesses around, and I see a waiter who's on his cell phone. He was done with his shift, but he was still on the clock. Okay, he was still getting paid, even though he wasn't picking up any more tables. And I don't know if they were sitting in his section. I said to him, excuse me, I'm sorry to bother you on your phone call. I said, I don't see any hostesses. I don't see any waiter around. I said, but this lady and her son have been waiting here for 20 minutes, ignored. They would like a glass of water. Can you please go to them? He ignores me. I feel bad. I don't see any hostesses, waiters around, any management. So what do? The lady asked me for water for her and her child and a blueberry lemonade. I go and get a water for her and the child in the kitty cup. We have no blueberries. I tell her, for the blueberry lemonade, I'll be more than happy to make it for you, ma'am. But we only have blueberry syrup. Is that okay? No blueberry. No, it's okay. Just the water. She then moves to another section where the waitress was helping her. For whatever reason, when the customer decided to leave, for whatever reason, she did not tip the waitress. And this is one of my last 2 days before I got fired. Once the customer left the restaurant, I spoke to the waitress, who's very nice. She's very professional, and she's always one step ahead. She always anticipates what the customer is going to need. And there's no reason why, in my personal feeling, that the customer shouldn't have tipped her. Whatever. She was unhappy, obviously, for having waited 20 minutes and been ignored by everybody in the restaurant. Okay? So I don't really blame her. So I said to the young lady, the waitress in the kitchen, I said, I'm really sorry that the customer didn't tip you. I don't remember, in all honesty, if I offered to give her the whole tip. It was between $5 and $7, or half the tip. But with my OCD, I repeatedly said, are you sure you don't want the whole tip? Are you sure you don't want me to split it with you? I feel very guilty. I didn't steal it off the table. She came to me and handed it to me. No, it's okay. You keep it. Are you sure? Then, over the next few days, different management and human resources, oh, you shouldn't keep the tips. You're taking away from the servers. Don't go to the kitchen. If the customers need anything, you are not to get it for them. What about if it's a to-go box or a glass of water? No. Find their waiter or waitress. Okay. I said, okay, no problem. What about when I look for the waiter or waitress and they're not around for 10 minutes or so, or they're out in the back smoking weed or a cigarette, or they're in the bathroom? Then you find a manager. Okay, well, I've done this before. Sometimes there's no manager around, and I call downstairs to the manager's office and nobody picks up the phone. So am I supposed to leave the customer sitting there hoping for a glass of water for 20 minutes? No, I'm going to take matters into my own hand. It's not about stealing money, getting a tip. It's about making somebody feel comfortable. How would you feel if you were waiting 20 minutes for a glass and you had a child with you? Is that fair? Do you want to be treated that way? It's disrespectful and it's unprofessional. The day I got let go, okay, I was an hour late to work, if not longer. It was my third or fourth day. I was back nearly 5 days after being gone 6 weeks with a letter from the emergency rooms and my outpatient director of my outpatient mental health facility. Okay. They were also doing construction everywhere because it was graduation. The buses were routed there. I'm very nervous. It's my third or fourth day back. I've already been late 3 times. They're going to suspend me. I kept calling and calling, getting disconnected. It was going to HR. So I'm getting there late, already feeling like I'm going to be suspended on my phone. So I'm already nervous. I was told because of my anxiety medicine, I'm allowed to drink a soda up front at the Hostess there to give me some sugar because my medicine makes me tired and sleep. And they know that. They said it's okay to have a Red Bull like I'm drinking or some soda. The day I got fired, the CO2 machine was down, which means there's no carbonation for sodas, lemonade, so on and so forth. I'm getting up to the exact minute I was fired. So while the guests are waiting to be seated, half the restaurants are on break. I was told that the CO2 machine was down. So we only have water, disgusting coffee. And no, Denny, I didn't say the coffee was disgusting. Okay, though I wanted to. Water, coffee, apple juice, and orange juice. And it's graduation time, and we're promoting these beautiful blueberry lemonades, so on and so forth. Putting myself in the guest's shoes, I would like to, not so that someone says, oh, you don't want to dine here, you might want to go somewhere else, but I'd like to be informed if I'm waiting 10 minutes to be seated and then another 5 minutes or so before someone comes to me, 15 minutes. Oh, I'm sorry, we only have water, coffee, orange juice, and apple juice. We don't have sodas, we don't have lemonades. So the waiter told me, oh, let the customers know before you seat them that the CO2 machine is down. Keep in mind, I had no soda to implement the side effects of my medication because the machine was down and I didn't know if I could have coffee. And I was late, so I didn't have a Red Bull. So I thought, okay, let me have a little sugar, a small kitty orange juice to help me with the sleepiness of my medicine. Before I even get the kitty cup of orange juice, the same waiter who told me to let them know the CO2 machine was down, the manager takes away the orange juice. You're not allowed to have this and throws it out. Excuse me. So I apologize. I'm letting the customers know before I seat them that, I'm sorry, but just before I seat you, I'd like to let you know that the CO2 machine is down. So we only have water available, coffee, orange juice, or apple juice. That was it. Not saying, oh, would you like to go somewhere else? I got in trouble for that. The icing on the cake. I had sat a lady who, I almost said her name, a very nice customer who I'd sat on 2 or 3 other occasions, maybe before my 6-week hiatus. Keeping all this in mind, my earrings, me being suspended, me not being allowed to have orange juice, everything going on, and then letting people know about the CO2 machine. I really had it at that point, to be honest with you. I had it. And not being told that I'm not allowed to help any guests. Keep in mind, there's no waitress around, there's no hostess, there's no manager. So the customer basically has to sit there and suffer, waiting for a glass of water or someone to acknowledge them for 20 minutes. I had it. A waitress with blue nail polish, never mind, remember, we're not allowed to, says to me, please stop going to my tables and asking the customers, guests, if they need anything. I said, okay, no worries. I apologize. It won't happen again. I go back to the hostess there. Within 5 or 10 minutes later, this is all happening the day I got fired. She asked me nicely, please don't go and ask my tables if they need anything. Okay, no worries. I apologize. Won't happen. Same day I got fired. 10 minutes or so later, the waitress, she who shall not be named with the blue nail polish, comes up to me and says, can you get this guest a pot of coffee? And this is the same lady, very nice customer, single lady. I had sat on 2 other locations. I was very friendly. We had chatted. This is what got me fired. I said, right in front of the lady, the guest, right in front of the guest and the waitress with the blue nail polish, other customers and other co-workers that I said, ma'am, I would love to go into the kitchen to get you a pot of coffee. That's what the waitress asked. So in front of the waitress, other customers, other co-workers, and the customer said, ma'am, I would love to go into the kitchen to get you a pot of coffee. But in all honesty, I said, I have no problem. I would totally do it. But in all honesty, I get in trouble for every single little thing I do. Human resources and management told me not to go into the kitchen to ask to get anything for the customers to help them out. I'm really sorry. I would love to get it for you. So I said to the customer in front of the co, if you don't see me again, it's because I either got suspended or fired. That was it. That was the icing on the cake. Within minutes later, human resources calls me down to their office, and I just knew it. They asked me for my name tag, my beautiful golden IHOP name tag. Like I could give a flying, you know what. So, and they're like, listen, you've had verbal and written warnings. Apparently, you know, I guess this isn't the job for you. It's too overwhelming, something like that. It gives you too much anxiety, so on and so forth. In which case, I started crying. I won't lie. Okay. It's pathetic. 44 years old crying for getting fired from a hostess bus girl position at IHOP. It's pathetic. They let a lot of good people go, hard workers go. And that's when I just had it, and everything came flowing out. And that's when I had said about the bathroom, because I was just so annoyed. The ceiling and the rainwater I don't know. I was just saying anything at that point. And whatchamacallit, and the woman from HR, who wasn't always the friendliest to me, basically called me a liar to my face without calling me a liar, that the rainwater came down on me because she'd been working there since she was 19. I'm pretty sure she was in her 30s, and over 10 years ago, it wasn't even IHOP. It was an Italian restaurant. And then, to make matters even better, I remember there was two different sets of customers there with children. And I'm very family oriented. One person was celebrating their 6th birthday, and the other one was the graduation. I remember seeing, because I'm a skater, I've been skating since I'm 5, and I played roller. I remember seeing pink inline rollerblades. It was either the girl whose graduation it was, her birthday, and then I saw the customers waiting for a taxi cab outside from the host for a half an hour. When I left after getting fired, leaving my name tag and crying, waiting at the bus stop, crying, just pondering life, I look by the IHOP entrance, by the host, and I see the rollerblades that one of the customers, the little girls, had left. Now, I've been skating, like I said, for years. So I went to look at the skates and to see if they were broken, missing parts, damaged. There was no garbage there. And the skates looked like they were in perfect condition, just sitting right by the door. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So I took the skates and I ran inside to see if the customer was still there to give them to. This is after I got fired, and I'm feeling just like very depressed, okay? And I'm like, why am I even doing this? But you know why, Denny, and everybody else out there? It's because I wear my heart on my sleeve, and it's not about money. It's about caring about others and the way I was raised and just being a family person. And so I was looking to see if I saw the family or the little girl to give the skates. It was one of 2 people, but I think she left in a cab. I found another waitress who didn't wait on the table, and I said, listen, I know I was just fired. I don't know what I said at this point. It was a few months ago in front of other customers. I said, listen, this was a customer. These skates belong to a little girl who's just here. I don't know if she might have thrown them out or what, but they don't look broken. You're never going to see me again because I was fired. But I want to make sure if the customer comes back or calls looking for the skates, in case she accidentally left them outside, that she gets them. So I'm leaving them by the hostess stand. And that was basically it. And I tried to do a lawsuit. The lawyer said he didn't think I had a case. I called the EEOC to file discrimination because I understand bullying is not illegal. It's not against the law. But I did a lot of research, and I have lawyers in my family, but not that kind of lawyers, those kind of lawyers. And what they did was a form of ridiculing and mockery by making it a hostile work environment. And lastly, two more quick things. I know it's 5:07. One time when I was either absent or late, they know I helped take care of my elderly mother. This is before she ended up in the hospital, okay? And that she has a nurse's aide 6 days a week, but not on Sundays because the nurse's aide is religious. And they know that my mother's health is very important to me. I said to one of the managers, and my mother's nurse's aide heard this, okay? I said, listen, my mother's health is my top priority. In which case the manager said, your job is your top priority. And in addition to that, the icing on the cake, me being unprofessional is saying to other employees and in front of guests, customers, like basically talking about my business as being unprofessional, or me getting fired or suspended, or that I get in trouble, is being unprofessional. Okay, so my question to you, Denny, or anybody at PissedConsumer.com, anybody watching this, if that's being unprofessional, me talking about my business or getting in trouble or fired or suspended, what about when a coworker of mine, who I'm not saying their name, this is what I was told through a friend of mine who was also fired, but for doing absolutely nothing wrong. Simply not having a doctor's note for an upper respiratory infection, for being out for 30 days, is all I'm going to say. And I hope you edit this. No names. I'm not using any names. And she was a hardworking, dedicated employee who begged for her job back Memorial Day weekend. Please just edit this out, okay? A very nice, hardworking, loyal employee who always bent over backwards, okay? A young person half my age apparently asked one too many questions one day. And this is where I feel IHOP is being unprofessional, okay? They're hypocrites. He asked one too many questions, and the person was working in the kitchen as to go in front of other waiters, waitresses, bussers, cooks, managers, whoever. The manager who said that my job is my top priority, when the person asked, my coworker said, asked too many questions, something like what I was told, what I overheard through the grapevine, okay, was she said to my coworker, "You're asking too many questions, just like Elise, being annoying," in front of God knows 5 to 10 people. So to me, that's being unprofessional. That's mocking me. And you're saying I'm getting in trouble, I'm going to get fired or suspended, or I'm saying things about IHOP in front of fellow coworkers and customers. Meanwhile, you're using my name and saying to my coworker, that he's being annoying, like me asking too many questions. Meanwhile, I have anxiety. I have OCD and learning disabilities and emotional disorders, and I have letters from the emergency room department, the director of the outpatient mental health program I go to, and my psychiatrist, and you're mocking me, in front of me, and I'm not even supposed to know that comment was made, okay? And other former employees that I used to work with said things about me in front of other coworkers as well. Okay, but they were fired, not for that, for other reasons. So my name was used as well. So to me, it's like going in one ear and out the other. They say I'm getting reprimanded for wearing these earrings. Meanwhile, it says you can't wear a nose ring, and the girl who's no longer there is wearing a bull ring going through her nose for 6 months. And I tried to contact the franchise owner. When I asked for his number, I was hung up on. Okay, and I read the 55-page employee manual. And like I said, to end it on this note, because I know you have to edit, I am very grateful for every opportunity that I have, and it is a learning experience, but they don't treat their employees well at all. And then, following up, after I left, my friend who got let go for not having proper paperwork for the upper respiratory infection, a good hard worker, she's been to that same IHOP before, and we worked at the same one. Since then, they've hired many new employees, and the employees are given too much work on a busy weekend to do it once. Like one time in about 9 hours, there were over 400 guests seated, okay, and over 150, 200 tables. And if there's only 2 hostesses or so on at a time, the work, it's not brain surgery by any means. You're not a doctor, but it's a lot of work for one person to do in a certain amount of time. When you keep having more and more customers coming in, you have to attend to them to get each task done. So the hostesses, my friend witnesses, after she got fired, she just went in there to eat as a customer. And, she still had friends that worked. So when the other hostesses, the new hostesses, would ask another coworker, another hostess for help getting a task done, the same managers that got on me and yelled at me or ridiculed me were witnessed by my friend. And she said if I contacted lawyers and I had a case, that she'd be willing to admit to everything that happened. And I'm sure this will go for you too. She just doesn't want to use her real name for any legal reasons, okay? She doesn't want any legal. She witnessed the new hostesses asking coworkers for help to get the task done. Meanwhile, they get in trouble for not getting the task done, but when they asked others for help, the managers who got mad at me were yelling and screaming at them that they're not allowed to ask for help. So they're treating all the other new people like crap too. And basically, if they keep it up that way, a few people, the girl with the nose ring is no longer there. Nice waiters, very nice people who I work with, hardworking, dedicated, loyal employees, they decided to leave too. Since the Memorial Day weekend. They don't want to deal with it either. The place might just close down. I don't know. But that franchise owner owned the other location, the original location by my house that transferred me. And when I got transferred, it was Veterans Day that I had the anxiety attack because I was very overwhelmed. There was a lot of veterans, and it was the height of COVID still, and I had to check IDs and the COVID vaccinations and see people and wipe out. I was told the next day you work, you're going to get evaluated, but you're not even going to pass anyway. You're going to get fired. So before they even gave me that evaluation, Denny, they decided to transfer me anyway. Oh, and starting at that I know we have to end. That IHOP, I never told them about my mental and emotional disorders. And at that point, I was not on medication. But when I filled out the job application on Indeed.com, I'm pretty sure it was confidential. It asked if you had any disabilities. And I'm pretty sure. And I did say yes, okay, even though I didn't disclose to them at the location. And other people I work with that either got fired or transferred or quit, they were very rude and disrespectful to me. I would say hello or ask one too many questions, and I was basically told to F off or called names, and in front of and customers were cursed out too. And I looked at it on Yelp too. So I was just mistreated left and right. And I have other witnesses too, other fellow coworkers and other customers that were mistreated and cursed out left and right. So once again, thank you for the opportunity, but it's not about monetary gain. It's just about respect and about the little person in midst of millions and thousands of customers and coworkers just being heard.